people in the dating scene are becoming generally more frugal about what they want to spend on dates. And it is a real trend that predates the economic cycle we've been in with inflation and the rest. But polling shows pretty clearly that people are being more careful with spending. Now, forever ago, I started a tradition with my wife, Lane, that I get her roses 2 weeks before Valentine's Day. So she's already gotten her roses. And in fact, several of the 24 have already died. Anyway, the reason I do that is the roses are not surcharged yet. And so I get them for her well in advance, which shows I'm doing pre-planning, right? And she got the roses. It was funny. I got her 24 of them at Costco. And I was starting to pick a bunch, and a lady there said, no, don't buy that bunch, buy this one. And if somebody who thinks they know what they're saying about flowers tells me, then that's what I do. But if you are somebody who's Mr. Last Minute and you're looking at buying roses, know that there are a number of outlets that sell them very affordably on Valentine's Day. First, you got the supermarkets. Trader Joe's started this forever ago, and now everybody is imitating Trader Joe's in the grocery business, offering extremely affordable roses on Valentine's Day. And so you just got to go out earlier in the day, because you wait till later in the day, they're kind of picked over. And then nurseries, not the ones for kids, but the ones with plants and stuff like that. This is off season for them. And a lot of the nurseries do a big business selling cut roses for Valentine's Day, and they're really beautiful, beautiful roses. As for florists, I mean, that's an expensive way to do it. And so we're talking here about being cheap. So I'm not dissing you if you are a hardworking florist. I'm just trying to give people the lower cost ways to do so. Mentioning Costco again, their roses go from 2 dozen in a bunch for, depending on location, $18.99 or $19.99 to $19.99 for 1 dozen, typically, depending on where you are in the country, once you hit the Valentine's Day cycle. So you see why doing what I do gets me more than twice the value for my dollar. And the right time to buy Valentine's chocolates is the day after Valentine's Day. Not kidding on that. The other thing is take your sweetheart to dinner the day before Valentine's Day or the day after. Because eating on Valentine's Day, the restaurants are stressed and stretched. They're having to bring in many times inexperienced people to help with the overflow crowd. They may have one of those special menus with higher prices. And so if you do things where you show pre-planning, you're going to have a much more personal, warm experience in a restaurant. It's going to be a better experience. So those are some of my suggestions. And Krista, I know I've probably blown the romance card. Anything?
No, not at all. But I think it's interesting, the trend to spend less on dates overall, and that poll we did on Clark.com.
Yeah, so our poll was specifically related to first date. And it's really funny how different people's answers are. Like Patrick in New Jersey said, you should spend $80 on a first date. And then Chris in Georgia said $20. And then we have Bill in North Carolina who said $45. Timothy in North Carolina said a cup of coffee is all you should spend. I don't know, Timothy, that first dates are going to be thrilled that that's all they get is the first cup of coffee. Mona in Florida says $50 or more. And then we've got Roni Sue in Tennessee who says $20. And
someone else said just go Dutch. That's what you do these days.
So we didn't have a lot of people say that. I've been looking down the list, but we've got Joseph in Arizona, $25. We have Clarence in Georgia who says $100. Clarence.
Wow.
You're our first $100 person, I guess. Oh, and then we have Ken also from Alaska, $100. But everything costs more in Alaska.
Yeah.
$100 in Alaska is $50 anywhere else. And it got a 65, 75, 20.
Diane in Ohio says 0, that you should take
68.
a walk in a public park and get to know each other, which I love that idea. Or I think coffee is reasonable. If it depends on what you're talking about, but people are spending less lavishly. Like, I think if I were in the dating world, I would be kind of turned off by someone who spent too much on it or wanted to do something super fancy because you were like, are they good with money? You know, you would be horrified.
Well, I was talking with a guy who's been single for a while, and he said he's learned not about money, but because of you don't know if it's going to be awkward or not, if it's going to be somebody who you're both like, is this done yet? Is this done yet? That coffee is the smartest thing to do because you'll know fairly quickly, is this somebody who you're going to have any chemistry with at all? So dating advice from the Clark Howard podcast from two people who haven't been in the market dating for me, almost 28 years, and for you?
25 years almost.
Yeah. So we're lame to be giving this advice.
No.
But the consensus, if you average everybody together, other than the person who said you should spend a dime on the first date, a dime really, is somewhere $40 to $50 seems to be about where if you take the bell curve, that seemed to be about where it was.